Hi guys, welcome to or welcome back to my channel. I'm Katie and I am here to bring you all the books I read in December. 14 in total, and yeah, let's get into it. So let's get the boring stuff out of the way first. I am on a mission in 2026 to get to 1k subscribers. So if you are new to my channel, hello. I am a crime and thriller girlie who is branching out, so you will see the occasional change in genre. But yeah, hit that subscribe button, guys, and come and join me on a roller coaster of a year. I have got so many vlogs planned. I have got so much content in mind, and yeah, I can't wait for you to join me on that journey. So let's talk about the last sort of reading wrap up of 2025. Cannot believe I'm saying that, but what I want to talk to you about is the books I read. So I read 14 books in total. Now I cannot actually remember the stats to this. I will be open and honest. I am going to do better at recording them in 2026. So the plan is to read more accurately on like Storygraph. So instead of saying that I have read so many pages of an audiobook, I'm just going to say what percentage I'm at. I feel like Storygraph is really good at doing that, so that is going to be my tracker of choice that I follow in terms of stats. But I definitely read 14. Quite a few were festive, but I did fall off the festive wagon when I got sick of reading them. So yeah, we're in for a mixed bag, guys. And just as a bit of a proclaimer, these are more disclaimer. Basically, these are going to be in no particular order. So I'm going to go with the festive reads first, and then what I branched off into. They're in no particular order. I'll tell you the format, what I rated them, and a little bit about what the books are about. So the first book that I'm here to talk to you about is The Gingerbread Bakery by Laurie Gilmore. Gosh, that's a good start, guys. This I did actually end up rating 4 stars, and this was the buddy read that I do over on TikTok. And yeah, I listened to this in audio. I don't know if I mentioned that. So this was a quick and easy listen. This is book 5 in the Dream Harbour series, and this one follows Annie and Mac. Now, we have been lined up with these in the previous one, so I would recommend reading the series in order. That being said, they are interconnected standalones. But I love hearing about how the other characters are doing, how they are going, and yeah, just the general feel of it. So I really enjoyed this one. I thought it was a really quick and easy read. And yeah, I enjoyed listening to it. It made me smile. It didn't give me the 5-star. I struggle to rate a romance 5 stars, and that's why. But I would still strongly recommend this, guys, and it was a perfect audio start to the month. The next book I want to talk to you about is The Killer's Christmas List by Chris Frost, and this came with a 4-star rating. Now, this actually took me a while to get into. This was my first physical of the month. This basically follows, they find a person unalived, and what they want to do is try and solve it. However, they find a little note in his pocket, and the first one is Christoph, and it says Angel. And they then get a list, and you see this list. It looks like it's written by a girl. Now, I struggled so much. This is a really short book, and I actually really struggled to get into it. However, once I hit the 50% mark and had time to sit down, because December is my busiest month at work, once I actually had time to sit down, I inhaled the last, in fact, it might even be more than 50% in one sitting, and I did end up enjoying it, hence the 4-star. Can't give it 5 because, yeah. But the twists towards the end of this were really good. I have already picked up the second one to read this December. Sounds weird saying that. But yeah, so I will be reading this in December 2026, or the second one. But I did enjoy it, and I would still recommend it. On to my next audiobook pick now, and this was Unfortunate Christmas Murder. Now, the guys over on TikTok picked this for me. It has been sat on my TBR for a while, so I did want to get into it, and they picked it, and I just didn't feel like I wanted to pick it physically. So I actually looked into it. It was on BookBeat. Now, I rated this 4 stars. This is actually book 2 in a series, which I didn't realise, and having gone in blind, I wasn't spoiled by the first book at all. It did reference it slightly, only because it is based on the Dinner Lady Detective. So this basically follows them as somebody is murdered. I don't like it saying alive because I don't have to be as quiet on here about that. But yeah, so someone is murdered, and the Dinner Lady Detectives think they can do a better job than the police, and they try to solve it themselves. This is set in a school, which I find a bit bizarre, but I actually found it quite comedic. It's very light thriller. It's more like a mystery kind of vibe, but I did really, really enjoy the premise of that, and I think, yeah, I'm excited to see the rest of the series. Part of me wants to pick it up, and I think if I'm at a miss for an audiobook, I'll probably go back to the rest of the series, but this was a really enjoyable audio. I did have my giggles. It was just, obviously, with it being a murder mystery, it was a little slower than I like, hence the drop in the rating. Next up is The Winter Killer by Chris Frost, and I actually ended up rating this 3.75. Now, I enjoyed the first 2 books in the series. This is book 3 in the James Walker series. You guys know how much I love a detective series. So this one basically follows James Walker, who gets to New Year's Eve this time. His and he gets a phone call from someone who is at a wedding, and basically the woman goes missing. She called the maid of honor. She goes missing, and then she is obviously later found dead, and it is a mystery as to who committed the murder. Now, this was a little bit underwhelming for me. I struggled to get through it. It took me a long time to read it, and it was almost a little bit too predictable, which is why I had to drop it into the threes. I think I've got to the point where I've read too many Christmas thrillers, if I'm being honest, and I haven't read them all. If anyone has any recommendations for a decent Christmas thriller that I need to add to my TBR next year, please let me know, because I am sick of Christmas thrillers at this point, because I cannot find one that is 5 stars. So if anyone has found a 5-star one, let me know. But yeah, honestly struggled with this, and yeah, I did, however, which you will see in a second, I did go on to the next book, but yeah, I just feel like it was just a bit of a flop for me, and it did hit the threes. Still recommendable if you're new to thrillers, but just not for a well-read thriller girly. So, as I've just said, I did then pick up The Night Before Christmas, only because I have all the books in the series to read. There are 6 at present, I think, and this is book 4. So this one follows basically 4 people who go for a hike and then they go missing. And then basically this is all Christmas Eve into Christmas Day. I mean, 12 hours, 4 captives, 1 chance to save them. Absolute rubbish. I rated this 3 stars, I don't know if I said that, and that is purely because I guessed twist, which really rather irritated me because I guessed it. And on that, it underwhelmed me. I mean, 3 stars is still good. I think the reason I guessed it is because I'm well read in thrillers. I know I've already said that, but yeah, I don't know. I have no words for it, guys, unfortunately. It's good, but it wasn't the best. I mean, I read it pretty quickly. The chapters are short and reasonably sized. Like, I can't take that away from the book. And it did make me stop reading Christmas thrillers, and in particular this series, because I said I would never back-to-back them. And I did. But yeah, this was more trying to find them, but it was not 12 hours, and I wouldn't call it captives. We had no idea they were captives until like 8%. So yeah, unfortunately it didn't hit the mark for me. If you're new to thrillers, maybe give it a shot. Have a look at the blurb, see what you think. But yeah, as a well-read thriller girly, I wouldn't recommend it. Next up, and actually a very unexpected addition to my TBR, was The Christmas Appeal by Janice Hallett. And I actually rated this 4 stars. So I read The Appeal earlier in 2025, and I only rated that one 3. And I thought it wasn't quite for me, and I wasn't sure if Janice Hallett was the author for me. That being said, I had finished reading Christmas books about 4 days before Christmas, and I wanted Christmas Day to have a Christmas book on the go, purely for content purposes, I'm not going to lie. However, I saw this, it was a novella, 200 pages long, and I loved it. So this is actually like a novella to The Appeal, and it comes after The Appeal, and it follows the same group of people who are doing like a pantomime for Christmas, and a dead Santa is found in the beanstalk. They then obviously go upon themselves to try and figure it out, and it's following the same people who try and figure out The Appeal. Obviously, the people themselves don't. I actually really enjoyed this. I did actually read it in a day, purely because I wanted to get it done by the end of Christmas Day. Don't know how I got 200 pages read in a day, but I did. Super enjoyable, super easy to read, and yeah, I'm really glad I picked it up. I believe there's a second book to The Appeal coming in 2026, so I may or may not pick that one up. Next up is Happy Bloody Christmas by Jo Middleton, and I actually ended up rating this one 4 stars, and this was an audiobook pick. So this was again an unexpected addition. I was running out of audiobook ideas, if I was being honest, so I opted to pick up this on a recommendation from Carly, who is here on BookTube. She's over on TikTok and Instagram as the Passable Bookshelf, and I adore her content, and I've seen her rave about these books so much, so I picked them up. It follows a woman who basically goes into is it a larder, I think she called it, and she finds a dead body, a dead Santa. I seem to have a theme about dead Santas this month. And it is her boss, and basically she then goes upon herself to try and sort it out, becomes a bit of a private detective. This is a very humoured thriller, and I didn't think I'd enjoy it. I think in terms of audiobook, I really enjoy those kind of thrillers. I don't want a dark thriller when I'm listening because I feel like it would spook me out too much. So I feel like these light-hearted thrillers are really good for audios for me, and I was laughing. I enjoyed this book. I would recommend it, particularly in audio. It is very funny, and I was so glad I took the recommendation from Carly because, yeah, it was hilarious. I do love a mystery, I've decided, in audio. That has been what I have learned about myself in 2025. Yeah, it was such a funny book, and I'm definitely glad I picked it up. Of course, it goes without saying, I then picked up Not Another Bloody Christmas by Joe Middleton straight after that, again in audio, and again it was 4 stars. This was basically the same family. They went away together and they tried to avoid like any drama. They didn't want another Christmas like last year. And basically the same, like another group of people show up and they've accidentally like been double booked. So they say that they will crash together until the next day they wake up and there is a dead body in one of the rooms. It's a very posh, expensive looking place. And she again goes about being a private detective. They're stuck in a snowstorm, I should probably mention. And you cannot believe that they are. I do love those kind of books, I must say. Again, the humour with this, it was absolutely hilarious. It was almost unbelievable, but it was quite funny. And I don't know if there is a third book planned, but I would really love it if Jo Middleton did, because I find her writing really funny and the perfect audio just to like zone out while I'm colouring and listen to and have a laugh. I just couldn't recommend it enough, really. They were such a good duo to read for the Christmas period. On to the non-festive reads now, and I read Kill Me Twice by Simon Booker, and I actually rated this 4.25. So this was actually a book I got out of the library in November, I think, and I just didn't get around to reading it. It's been sat in my TBR cart, and I didn't know if I was going to be able to read it. I've renewed it for the last time, so I will be returning it this weekend. This follows basically a man is dead, a woman is in jail for his murder, and it turns out he's not actually dead. So she goes it upon herself to try and help this woman get out of jail. This is twisted. This is dark. I inhaled this, and I normally don't read physical so quickly, but I read this so quickly. It is so fast paced. It's not an author I've come across before, and when I actually looked into this book is like 9 years old. So it's not a new thriller by any means, and I've not seen anything by this author. And a little bit of a not spoiler because it's not about the book, but a little bit of a secret for those guys that are watching this. I am actually going to put this in my underrated books video I've got going for books you just don't hear about. So yeah, absolute recommend, guys. And it looks chunky, but actually it read really easily. The text is reasonably sized. Like, I can't complain, and the chapters are reasonably length, and yeah, I would absolutely recommend this one. Next up is Sable Peak by Daphne Perry. Now, you guys are probably thinking, but you put this in your festive TBR. I thought it was winter-based. It's not remotely, which is why I've taken it out of the festive section of the reads. This, basically, I'll start with a rating. I gave it 4 stars. This is book 6 of the Eden series, and I read this at the beginning of the month, and I'm not going to lie to you, I can't remember a single thing about it. Like I said, I did like how it brought it all together. So this is the last book in the series. Now, I can't really talk much about it anyway, because I think it does spoil the book talking about it, but it is a romance, I will tell you that much, and it follows 2 characters who, yeah, she's kind of coming back from a different life. She is on the hunt for a dad, doesn't want to tell anyone, and he is just absolutely gorgeous. I forgot how much I love the Eden series, and I have definitely going to be going back to Daphne Perry's work in January because I am picking up Sheila Sparrows, which I know is a fantasy, but I just love Daphne Perry's writing. Quick, easy to read, enjoyable, and yeah, I would recommend that whole series. I think Garnet Flats is the first one. It's been a while since I've read them. They were all on KU, but I believe they've been taken down now. But look out for number 99p deals, guys, because that series is fantastic. The only thing I don't like is that you can't get hold of the physical here in the UK, or if you can, it's at an extreme cost. So that's going to have to be a Kindle love for now. Next up is Hunted by Abir Mukherjee, and I rated this 4 stars. Now, all I'm going to say to you is the reason I rated this 4 stars is because I actually was fuming at the ending. This was a really good read. So this is actually not what I thought it was going to be. I met Abir back in November, and I did get this signed. And honestly, he's the nicest guy. Like, he didn't just sign it. He wrote a whole message in it for me. So I was really, really lucky girl. And yeah, it says, great to meet you. I hope you enjoy the book. Best wishes, Abir. So basically the premise of this is more around, it is very much terrorism and racism. I will say that. And basically a bomb goes off in a shopping mall and they are trying to solve what's going on. So this has several points of view. It has the point of view of the dad of a girl who's kind of got mixed up in it all. So the point of view of a guy who seems to be involved in it all, but we don't know how at that point. And it also follows a police officer who is trying to sort it. This was fast-paced. I actually inhaled 80% of this in a day. I found this so enjoyable. Like I said, I will explain the dropping star because this would have been a 4.5 had it not been for the ending. The ending left me with so many unanswered questions and almost on such a massive cliffhanger with, I believe, no intention of a second book, that I was absolutely fuming. So yeah, it wasn't my idea of fun, that ending, and I did speak to a beer and he was more than happy with how it ended, which I think is fair. At the end of the day, it's the author's work. It is my personal opinion about the ending, but overall this book was fast-paced, full of drama. I'm not sure you can categorise it as a thriller as such, but still really, really enjoyable. And yeah, I still think about this book to this day, and if it wasn't for the ending, it would be such a higher rating. Next up is Fake Skating by Lynn Painter, and again, this was 4-star. You will see the theme, I think, this month. I seem to be very much a 4-star girly. So this is a YA book. It is a romance, and I realised I was scrolling through some of my TikTok videos the other day. I do that, don't come at me. I just like to look at the content I've put out, and I do like to bring some of that over here, so I do tend to use some of my TikTok videos. That being said, I realised I said this would be a perfect December read. It's fake skating, it screams winter vibes, and it was very wintry. It wasn't Christmassy, but it was wintry. So this basically follows Danny, who returns back to her hometown after many, many years to reunite with her granddad. It's very much childhood sweetheart, second chance romance, and I did really enjoy that. I don't know why it didn't quite hit 5. I think I struggled to get into it. I feel like there was a little bit of a miscommunication trope going on, which I don't enjoy in a book personally, so I think that's why I struggled with it. But it follows Danny, and then it's Alec, who is on his dream to be an ice hockey star, and it just follows them. I love their relationship. It was so gorgeous to watch develop. And I actually, I did inhale this. What I will say about December is I read about 5 books up to the 19th or something, like 6 books. No, 9. Yes, I read 5 books up to like the 19th of December. As soon as I finished work for Christmas, I inhaled 9 books in, what, 10 days, 11 days? 12. I can't do maths. But yeah, I actually put this in an audio while I had a deep clean of my walk-in wardrobe, and I inhaled half of it, smiling most of the time. I think it was a bit slow to start for me. Probably one of my least favourite Lynn painters, but that being said, I would recommend her work on Blue in the Face. She's an author by author, an author who I'm working through the backlist of, so watch this space. Next up, and by far my favourite book of the month, is Do No Harm by Jack Jordan. I read this in one sitting, which means one thing, 5-star rating. So this follows a woman who gets home from work and sees that there are a load of vans outside her house, and she goes in. She gets told, I have your son. The only way you're going to get him back is if you kill this famous MP on the operating table. I should probably mention she's a heart surgeon. This is like a bit of a dilemma kind of thriller, and it's the first time I've read anything by Jack Jordan, and oh my goodness, I loved it. This was such an easy read. Like I said, I did do a readathon day in my defense. I don't know if I would have still read it in one sitting had that been the case, but I was hooked from beginning to end with this. Every break I just wanted to keep reading, and it was such an easy read. I could go on about this book until I'm blue in the face. It was such an enjoyable read. It was fast paced. It was, and you got to like 50% and you thought, oh my God, I've got another 50% to go. How is this going to work? And yeah, I did not see the twist coming in this at all. I thought the ending was well just. I just thought, I bloody loved it. That's all I'm going to say, guys. I could talk about this book until in the face. My favourite book so far, well, my favourite book of the month. And yeah, we're nearly at the end, guys. This was the second to last book of the month. I actually finished this on the 30th of December, and I did squeeze one more book in. So the last book I want to talk to you about is The Last Party by A.R. Torre. Now, before you come at me, I tried. I rated this 3 stars. I picked this up on the premise that this is so incredibly hyped, and I needed a really quick read. I was halfway through my readathon. I had about 2 or 3 hours left, and I needed something quick and easy that I knew I wouldn't have much time to read New Year's Eve. When I tell you I slogged through this on New Year's Eve, it baffled me. I guessed the plot twist, which upset me. So let me talk about the premise of the book. So this basically follows a family who, I don't know how to explain this without spoiling it. Basically, they're trying to recreate something that happened so many years ago, and we see both sides of it. So we have several points of view. We have a point of view of the woman who, I bloody love her as a character, I must say. She was very well written, which is why it's in the 3s and not the 2s. And then we have this point of view from her Prisoner. I can't get my words out about this book. From the Prisoner, who this is all based on, and yeah, I'm not going to say any more than that because I don't know what's on the blurb and I don't want to spoil it. A lot of people have rated this 5 stars, so I would still say give it a go, but I think for me, it just fell really flat. I did not see the hype personally. It got 3 because of the character writing, and I did like A.R. Torre's writing, but for me, I guess the whole twist, and I guess kind of the connections and things in there, and yeah, it wasn't the best way to end the month and the year, but because I came off the back of a 5 star, I don't think that helped. So yeah, I think I'd still recommend it, but unfortunately, it just didn't hit the point for me. Guys, that is a wrap on my December reading wrap up and a wrap on 2025. I've got so much content coming about 2025. I want to talk about my best reads, my worst reads, my favourites of the month. Like, there's so much coming out, guys, and if you've been around, you'll probably guess some of the content of the videos, but yeah, that is what I read. 14 books, a mixed bag of reviews, I must say, but definitely around an average of 4. A lot of books read. I am planning to slow down in January and in 2026. I have already started doing that at the time of recording this. So I are on the 2nd of January when I record this. I'll be open about that. And I already yesterday have started a couple of books, which I won't go into. But instead of focusing on reading all the time, I did other things like my journals, gaming, and I'm just trying to do more than just sit and inhale a book for the sake of it. I still set the same goal of 100, but I do exceed that quite far every year, so I'm just going to reduce that. Not listen to audio for the sake of getting through my TBR. But yeah, that's a wrap. Let me know, guys, if you're still here. Pop a heart in the heart emoji in the comments, and let me know your favourite book of December and your least favourite. And if you disagree, please let me know. Like, have I got any other ratings? Not wrong, because it is my opinion, but if you completely disagree, I want to know about it. Or if you do agree, let me know too. But let me know, guys, what was your favourite and least favourite book of December? Thank you for joining me, guys. And I know I've already said all this, but the mission to 1K is on. Please hit that subscribe button. I would appreciate it so much. Thank you for joining me, guys, and I will catch you all on the next video. Bye!